Hi, Erica.
Hey, John.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm John. I'm a social worker here at the Albany VA.
Okay.
I'm really glad you came in today. I've been looking forward to speaking with you. And I just wanted to know if we could go over, a couple of questions, really do an assessment and, really figure out what the next steps in treatment.
Okay.
Okay? Do you mind or?
Yeah, no, I think it's time for me to be here.
Okay.
It's been a little bit.
Well, before we start, I just wanted to go over what confidentiality is. I'm bound to a code of ethics. Everything we talk between you and I, stays in this room unless you talk about harming yourself or harming other people. Okay?
Fair enough.
All right. So, what branch of the military did you serve in?
I was in the Air Force.
Okay. And what years did you serve in?
I served got out in 16, and I started in 2010.
Okay. Now, what was your rank? What did you finish as?
I was an officer.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I was an officer nurse in the Air Force.
And what did your duties look like in the military as an officer nurse?
So basically, I was just a nurse that would help care for wounded, usually wounded military personnel. Sometimes they came in because they were sick, but for the most part, when I was deployed in Germany, they were pretty banged up.
So were you always stationed in Germany, or were you stationed in places like Fort Sumter and things like that, or?
No, I started out in San Antonio, Texas, and then after that, you can sign up to be deployed at kind of the drop of a hat. So then I went over to Germany because they know that I'm bilingual. So while I was there, I actually was able to act as a translator too.
Oh, okay.
So it was based in a German hospital, but for the really bad cases, they would have soldiers go. So.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your time in the service, or?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I did. There was something that happened, and that was the reason why I didn't re-enlist. But yeah, it was fine. It was good in the beginning, maybe like halfway through, a little bit more. Like after the 4th year, it sucked. But the first couple were all right.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. I'm just trying to get a gist of things, because I'm just getting to know you. So why did you join the military? So
my dad actually was, he was on the front lines, and so we were living on the base basically my whole childhood, and then we moved around a lot all over the country. I think when I was really young, we went to Japan and then came back. But yeah, I've always been around military people, and some of my best friends from childhood are soldiers or were soldiers, and I just really felt like I need to be part of it more. So I have a little sister, so I can't imagine not helping this country be better and be safe.
So from what it sounds like, it was sort of like your duty to serve.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I mean, I wasn't on the front line, so I don't really see myself as an actual veteran, but I was in the Air Force, so I was something. I was helping people, mostly.
Well, I mean, you chose to put others before yourself, and from what you're saying, you are a veteran because you served X amount of years. So I wouldn't so much discredit yourself in your service.
Yeah, it's just like I wasn't fighting, so I wasn't doing really tough work. That's the only thing.
But in a sense, you were there to support, your other brothers and sisters.
To make sure that they can go back out there and keep fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How has it been adjusting, to civilian life now that you're out and now you're here?
Yeah, so that's kind of the reason why I came in. It's been about 2 years now, or almost 3. In May, it'll be 3 years. So it's been all right. I mean, it's good to be back with family, kind of start or continue with my life, like the next chapter. But I do kind of miss the structure and kind of having things feel normal. Here it's kind of not as structured. People are so disrespectful, and it's just, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what is it about the structure that you miss? You know,
I mean,
how is it organized as opposed to how it is now?
well, I feel like everyone knew what the structure was and everyone was following the rules kind of thing, but here it's you don't really know what you're gonna get, and I feel like that kind of gives me anxiety because it's like I don't know if something's gonna happen. I mean, being in the hospital, there was that whole tone of never knowing what's gonna come in, but it's just different being outside, and it's just so many civilians, and now I am a civilian and it feels weird.
Do you feel like you're not as understood as you used to be?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of that general fog of just not really belonging.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and you said before you had a family and things like that. Do you have any kids, or do you have a husband?
Not right now. I was kind of holding off on seeing someone. I know it's going to be something in my future, but I got to work on things first before I actually get into a relationship. Yeah, some shit happened when I was in, and that's why.
Yeah. Well,
that's kind of why I left.
What kind of issues did you run in the service?
So I mean, I think that's really the thing that I'm coming in for, like that I really need to talk to someone about. So I'm glad that I'm seeing you today. I don't really want to get too into it, but I'll just give you general thing. So it's like my fourth year in, and everything was fine in Germany. I was kind of the only girl that this commanding officer really liked, and there were other nurses, but there's something about me that he really liked, and we had a good banter, and that's kind of a no-no because there's that whole ranking thing, and even though I was a nurse and he was doing his own thing, you're still not supposed to kind of fraternize. But we were kind of seeing each other, and it was fun, and I got to know some other people on his team, and it was fun. We would go out and stuff, but this one time I don't drink because my mom was an alcoholic, but that one night I decided, you know what? It's been a rough week. I need a drink. So he slipped something in my drink, and I woke up in the bathroom because one of this girl who's actually now my best friend from the base, she came and found me in the bathroom, and so that definitely changed my perspective on things. Like I thought I knew him and the other people that I was friends with, but after that I just was friends with girls, and I stuck to my nursing friends, and that was that.
Well, I appreciate you telling me this, and remember, this is a safe space, so we don't have to talk about anything that you don't want to talk about.
Yeah, no one knows at
all. What it seems like is that I wonder what it felt like for you. How did you feel after all this? You talked about only wanting female friends, because you felt like you lost the distrust of males.
Yeah. So I never reported it or anything, and the way that I handled it was more like, oh yeah, I was really drunk too, kind of thing, even though I remember everything. And they never really asked anything, but he had friends that were higher ups, and I think just to kind of get rid of me, I was asked to be brought back to the States like a few months later, and then I was just based back in Texas again for my last 2 years. So just to kind of, I think it's just get rid of the problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How have you been dealing with this personally? I mean, I know that you're out of the service now, and you were shipped back, and you ended up leaving after your contract is basically out with the military. So, how have you been dealing with this now that you're back here, and I don't know. Do you have people who were supportive of you? Have you ever seen a therapist before? Or?
I've never seen a therapist before. This is my first time. Yeah, I figured seeing a social worker was better than seeing a psychologist because it kind of tones it down a little bit, makes it a little less intense. But yeah, I mean, I would have nightmares, and that was like my last straw of ever going out again, especially in Germany. But yeah, I think it changed just my social life, of course. But yeah, I only really trust women because just there's a lot that happened that night in the span of I don't know how many hours before I passed out. So
yeah.
it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, and especially with him slipping something into your drink, I'm sure you only remember what you want to remember, from that night, or try not to remember things that even happened that night.
I remember everything.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
before I passed out.
You said your mother was an alcoholic and you had a drink that night. Do you still drink, or when was the last time you had a drink?
That night.
That night. And how long ago was that?
So I've been about 3 years out, so like 5 years ago.
And what about your job now? What do you do now? To keep
I'm
yourself
still a
busy
nurse, so that was good. Following the same career path. I'm still a nurse over at Samaritan Hospital, and it's with the geropsych unit. So some of those are more like crazier cases, but for the most part, it's fine. It's the tempo's a lot lower, so it's slower. So it's better, I think. Like the only way I'm still connected to being, a vet is to come here for medical things. So.
Because it seems like you miss sort of the camaraderie and the closeness that you had with your other vets.
Yeah, I still stay in contact with 2 or 3 of my closer nursing friends. Like that one friend that saved me. We're best friends. She knows the whole story. My family doesn't. There's no way I could tell my father that because I know he'd kill them. Yeah. So.
Do you still talk to that one friend, or?
Yeah. So she and I will talk all the time. She's over in California. So she got out about the same time I did, a little bit after, but we'll stay in contact. I've gone to visit her. I'm actually going to see her this summer.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah. So, you talk about never seeing a therapist. Is this your first time at the VA, or?
It's not my first time at the VA here, but it's definitely my first time seeing a therapist. I come for like my health stuff, just general annual checkups and take medicine and stuff like that if I get sick.
Have you ever came here for a crisis before?
No, I don't really have any crises going on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And now, what about we spoke prior about you not wanting a relationship right now because you said you had to work on some things. What was your incident that happened to you a factor into as to why you don't want?
That's the main reason.
And what other things that you wanted to work on?
I mean, it was mostly that because I have issues with like sleeping and because I'll have nightmares at times, but just I don't know, like how can I trust someone again, kind of thing, because he and I were friends for so long, and someone with that status also doing something that low to me is just,
Tell me a little bit more about your nightmares.
It's just, usually it's like people holding me down, and I can't move, I can't scream, nothing, and then I wake up in like a cold sweat, and then usually I can't get back to sleep, but it only happens a couple times a week. So sometimes I'll get sleep. Sometimes I'm just so exhausted after like a 14-hour shift that I just will knock out. But then there's other times I just really can't sleep.
What about any, like some affecting effective coping skills, to help you get through your nightmares? What do you do when you wake up from them, or what do you do prior?
I'll watch TV because usually there's a movie or something on. Netflix is great for binge watching shows. So I'll watch TV and then usually I'll end up getting back to sleep after a couple episodes of The Office because that's funny. Makes me feel a little bit better. Don't really have to think too much about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So what about like some grounding techniques? Do you know what grounding is?
What is that?
So when you focus on like an object or a thing, and you think about its touch, smell, and like its texture and things like that, and you really hone in on it, that can also help you with when you wake up from your nightmares. When your mind's racing, you're thinking about the nightmare and things like that. You can really hone in on it and stop your mind from racing, and take a step back and really put yourself back on track.
I don't know what you mean. Can you give me an example?
So I mean, listen, we can do one right now. Did you want to do a grounding technique, or?
I guess. Okay.
Okay. So think
it's weird, but fine.
So think about it this way. So say you have a hot cup of cocoa, right? So take your hands. You have your hot cup of cocoa. You have to do it too.
Oh.
Where we do it
okay.
together. Okay.
This is so weird, but okay. Never done anything like
and
this.
Think about its smell. So go up to the cup and smell it. And what does it smell like to you?
Hot chocolate.
What does it feel like while it's in your hand?
Also hot.
Yeah. Now take a sip of it.
Okay.
What does it taste like?
Reminds me of my childhood. Tastes like hot chocolate too.
Yeah. So it's doing things
I don't know
like
if that's gonna work for me.
Well, trying and doing those things with practice, can definitely take away some of those negative thoughts that you have.
So it's just focusing on something else kind of thing?
It could be anything.
Okay.
It could be anything in the room. It can be anything anywhere that, you're thinking of. So,
And that's supposed to help me get back to sleep?
Not necessarily help put you back to sleep, but it's it can also be a part of some sort of, good sleep hygiene. So when you wake up from your nightmare, you said you wake up sweating and you're thinking about the nightmare and your mind's racing. This is supposed to, calm you down, center you out a little bit,
okay.
put your mind on something else so you can focus on that instead.
Okay.
So.
Sometimes I'll listen to music too.
Mm-hmm. We talked about a little bit of the trauma that you've experienced in the military, but do you have any childhood trauma?
No, I had a great childhood, honestly. My family's always been really supportive. I have 2 older brothers and a younger sister. So we've all been really, really close, tight-knit family. Still really close to some of my childhood friends. Because I grew up around here, too. Well, not at one point I did. Like, my grandparents are here, but, I know the area really well. But, yeah.
So you were the middle child in your family?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. How was your relationship with your older brothers and your younger siblings?
Really good. My sister's a lot younger than me, so that's kind of fun. Like, she's really the baby sister. But, yeah, we have a good relationship. My oldest brother, not so much. He lives in Alaska, which is, he's kind of like the black sheep of the family where he just did his own thing. But my second older brother and then my little sister, we're all really close. The brother that's right before me, we're really, really close. We're only 2 years apart. So.
What about your relationship with your parents? How is it with your father?
I'm definitely Daddy's little girl. My mom and I had some issues when she was dealing with her drinking bullshit, but she's been sober for a while now, so I feel like if I told her what happened to me, that might trigger her to start up again or something. She has really bad anxiety and depression, so it was tough when he would be away because I would have to kind of step up when she was, spiraling or whatever.
And how was that, growing up with your mom having an issue with alcohol?
I mean, it sucked coming home from school and, she's passed out with a bottle in her hand and she's kind of like, all right. it would just be my second older brother and I. Because the first older brother, he's way older than us. So it would just be us taking care of each other. Since I'm the girl, it was more like cooking, cleaning, doing laundry. But he would help me with my homework sometimes.
Yeah.
My younger sister is so much younger than us because it was after my dad came back and then he was out, and then she's kind of an accident, but I think she's a miracle. She's just a little bright light of the family.
Yeah. Did your mom ever talk about why she drank so much?
I didn't really care why. Just because it was like, yeah, we're all dealing with it. Just deal with it. I guess that was her way of dealing with it. But maybe it was because she missed her dad. Because he passed away. I don't remember when my grandpa passed away. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to get this.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hello?